Alright, we're going to find the arc length of a curve here. The curve is x equals 1/3 times y to the 3/2 minus y to the 1/2. And we're going to find that from y equals 1 to y equals 9. So the first thing we want to do is kind of make sure we have the right formula. So the arc length formula will be L, and we'll have our bounds a to b, of the square root of 1 plus, doesn't really matter if we call it g or f, but g of y prime, and that will be squared. And under the square root, all that will be integrated in terms of y. So our function is 1/3 y to the 3/2 minus y to the 1/2. So let's just go ahead and take the derivative of that. So if that's our g prime will be, it looks like 1/2 y to the 1/2 minus 1/2 y to the negative 1/2. Okay, so in that case, we can go ahead and square it. So let's see. We'll take this function. And we want to square it, which is a FOIL. So don't just square the first term and the last term. It's a FOIL, F-O-I-L. So first will be 1/4 y, because square root of y times square root of y is just y. And then the two middle terms, the outer and the inner, the y's cancel out of both of those, so you'll have minus 1/4 minus 1/4, so you'll have minus 1/2. And then the last term will be plus 1/4 y to the negative 1. Okay, so that is what we will have for g prime squared. Alright, so let's plug that into the formula. So we'll have the arc length from 1 to 9 is what they gave us, of the square root of 1 plus 1/4 y minus 1/2 plus 1/4 y to the negative 1, and that'll be dy. So these things are pretty clever. We're going to combine that 1 and that negative 1/2, and I'm going to leave it in that same order. Depending on how you multiply it together, that may or may not help you. But when I combine everything under the root, it'll be 1/4 y plus 1/2 plus 1/4 y to the negative 1 dy. Now, you just have to get used to breaking these things apart, because this did create a perfect square even if it doesn't look like it. So try and take the square root of the first and the last term and see if it works out for you. So I'm trying to break this down. It'll be 1/2 y to the 1/2 plus 1/2 y to the negative 1/2, and it'll be times itself. Okay, and since it's the same thing under there twice, we can take the square root of it and reduce it down to a single term. Now, if you're not familiar with breaking this thing down like this, you can try it, and since it's a low confidence level, you might want to fold it back together and see if you get what's under that root. But a lot of times what you'll see in the examples you're given, not necessarily every example, but you'll see something like a negative 1/2 under there. And when you add the 1/2, it'll become a positive 1/2, and that middle term is just changed sign. So kind of helps you out there. But let's see here. So this will be the integral from 1 to 9 of 1/2 y to the 1/2 plus 1/2 y to the negative 1/2 dy. Alright, so let's integrate. So that'll be y to the 3/2. And if we divide by 3/2 and multiply by the 1/2 out front, I think we get 1/3. Is that right? I think so, yes. And then with the second one, we'll get y to the 1/2, and if we divide 1/2 by 1/2, we will get 1. So the function we get from integrating is 1/3 y to the 3/2 plus y to the 1/2. It looks very, very similar to what we started with. Okay. Just kind of look at that. Don't make any assumptions, because things are a little bit different here and there, but it does look very much the same. And that's going to be from 1 to 9. So let's slide down the page just a little bit so we can evaluate that. Alright, so let's let y equal 9, and we plug that in there. We'll have 1/3 times 9 to the 3 halves, square root of 9 cubed, so that will be 27, so I think that'll just be 9 in the end, plus the square root of 9, which will be 3. So it looks like that's 9 plus 3, and it's going to be minus, let y equal 1. So when we plug 1 in, we'll have 1/3 plus 1. So let's see, I believe that's going to give me 12 minus 4/3. So that should be 10 2/3 if I'm not mistaken. We'll just leave it at that. Let me clean it up a little bit since it looks a little weird now. 10 2/3. So that'd be 32/3. So I think everything does look good here. 9 plus 3 is 12 minus 4/3. So we take it down to 11. Yes, I like this answer.